week. The airwaves, well, they'll be swamped with the words impeachment inquiry.
The center of this new impeachment inquiry.
We call it an impeachment inquiry.
Before launching an impeachment inquiry,
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announces an impeachment inquiry.
The government whistleblower who set off the impeachment inquiry.
We really only have one topic to discuss.
Here's a live look at where the high-stakes hearing with the acting director of national intelligence.
What is in that whistleblower's complaint?
It is in the Constitution.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo subpoenaed for Ukraine documents.
These past 10 days in September may prove pivotal. Key moment in the impeachment battle.
What I think has shifted is sort of the moral implications inside the Democratic caucus.
Donald Trump will leave Congress, in my view, no choice but to initiate impeachment.
Oy vey, as my loving grandma used to say. Don't get me wrong, we have a corrupt president. Not exactly breaking news. Should he be impeached? Yeah, for about 25 things. But do you need me to tell you that? Do you need status quo to cover this wall to wall? I don't think so. But let me tell you something else that's very scandalous. The fact that Flint, Michigan still does not have clean water 5.5 years later. The fact that Newark, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, Cleveland, parts of Florida, parts of California, parts of Massachusetts, Detroit.
So the residents have had to bear this burden of the city screwing up, the state screwing up.
So this issue about water is a growing crisis in the Midwest, if you ask me.
And many other cities in America also have water problems. Another scandal. Black men continued to be executed by the police in the United Corporations of America.
So it's many inconsistencies that's in the situation. So we know, that it's plain out murder.
I understand or have some understanding of police culture, that they like to protect their own.
For years and decades, it's been an open season for black men.
After they dragged him for several feet, they put him back on the ground face down.
Another scandal. State parties all over the country, Democratic state parties, are screwing local progressive candidates just like the DNC screwed Bernie Sanders in 2016. Another scandal. Fracking and these crude oil, natural gas, totally unnecessary, totally toxic pipelines are being built at a record rapid pace, and there are fighters on the ground getting no media coverage.
Since when is profit more important than water? When is profit more important than people?
So if you want 24/7 Trump, 24/7 impeachment, 24/7 Ukraine, 24/7 Russia, whatever other scandal of the day, not your guy. But if you want on the ground, in the field reporting of the actual, true, long-lasting, happening way before Trump scandals in America, become a member. Statuscoup.com/join for as low as a cup of coffee a month. Statuscoup.com/join. Help us build the media revolution. We go out in the field. We've been all over this country in the last 2 years.
Standing Rock. I've been with you. I've been with you since Standing Rock.
Wow, you got me on right now. We're doing it, baby. We're going to South Bend. It's time to show the real Mayor Pete.
In 100 days, they tore down 1,000 houses in 100 days.
Thank you, whether it's Standing Rock or Flint or everything else you do. You know, you guys, it's not even like watching news. It's just watching truth, you know.
It's not me and you, Jordan. It's the ruling class. It's David Koch. It's the Walton family, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. It's them, not us, that benefit from these illegal offensive wars. Come on over here. Whoa!
We're here at the Bellagio in Las Vegas, and you are going to see live the actual caucus process. We are here.
We go out in the field, and we give the microphone back to the people.
Yo! Coup! I know who you are, yo! How you doing, man? You the man, yo!
Unmarked pills, okay.
Ooh, essential oils, purification. Oh, peppermint, la la la. Love it.
I am worried about Jordan, testing positive. He doesn't have any breathing difficulties right now, but he definitely has a cough that's been really bad and that's been hurting his chest.
That's theory right there. I've cleared out the desk and now got my drill a hole and we'll see how this goes. Hopefully well. I know a general idea of what I want, essentially, so I'll try and get all this down to about a minute, get the main points, especially I got 2 videos at least for Flint.
The bottom line is, it's Sunday morning, I'm preparing for my Sunday live stream, which usually takes me about 2 hours to prepare for before the live stream. And I got an email from a viewer.
Hey guys, Jen Dice here with a behind the scenes video. First of all, thank you so much for being a member. It's because of you guys that Jamal and I are able to be here. We can't thank you enough. It means just the world to us.
But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative is the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo. Came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hey there, Jordan Sheridan live. Monday, August 10th, 2020. Hope everyone's doing okay. Crazy, weird, strange, might not know everything scene at the White House. Trump was giving a press conference. I think he was only speaking for about a minute when a Secret Service agent came in. Kind of reminded me of when George W. was reading to the kids when a Secret Service agent came in and whispered into his ear that the World Trade Centers had been hit by planes on 9/11. As far as we know, Trump was removed in that beginning of the press conference for a couple minutes because of a shooting nearby the White House. Trump came back to the press conference probably after a few minutes and said that he was removed because of a shooting nearby. He said there was only one known shooter, and that shooter was shot by police. So I don't have any further updates than that, so we don't know why they removed Trump. We don't know who this shooter was, how close the shooter shot, how close was the shooter to the White House, what was he shooting at. You know, you're seeing rumors on Twitter, this and that, so I'm just telling you what I saw and what I know. But Trump is now back answering the press and saying some really dumb, bonehead things. So we don't, I'll update you. I'll try to monitor Twitter as I'm live and see if we know anything else. But as of now, all we know is he was removed for a couple minutes, and now he's back, and there was a shooting. So, don't know if it's terrorist, don't know if it's terror related, don't know if domestic, don't know if it's, totally unrelated to the Trump or the White House. We don't know. So, how'd you like the new intro? Colin Tooley with the variety. I don't really know how I feel about, did you see the snow? It was like snow was falling. Those white dots. I'm not sure if I like that. I'll talk to Colin about that. But other than that, I thought it was nice, fast pace. Gives us some variety, so you don't have to just look at a clock for 15 minutes. So thanks, Colin, for that. 223 people watching already. 116 of you have pressed that like button. Can I get another 100 of you to kindly press that like button? It's a thumbs up right under the live stream. The more people that press the like button, the more people that will see this very live stream. I'm also considering, would love to see what the audience thinks about this. We have the opera song at the end. We have the opera song at the end of the countdown, which I love. My friend Carmen sung a beautiful ballad for Status Coup that I wrote, mind you. We wrote together, actually. But I'm actually thinking maybe now I want to try a rap song. A little Status Coup rap song. Maybe even a Status Coup folk. A little folk music for the coup. So I'm just throwing around ideas. Maybe some viewers would want to, maybe a contest. Jen's not here, so I could just do whatever I want. Maybe a contest, Status Coup rap song for the intro. Status Coup folk song. What other genres? Rock?
Metal.
Nah, I'm not a big metal guy.
I'm just naming them.
What is that? Emo? Where the cool gothic kids went to concerts and stuff. Jazz would be nice. I don't know. I'm thinking about this. Like Ben Shapiro, Jordan. What are you talking about? Is he emo? I want to see a fully produced and staged opera of Status Coup. That would be great. Rap would be good. Polka. Wow. All right. Maybe we'll do a poll. I don't really know how to do that. And then we'll make it a viewer contest so viewers could submit. Obviously, we'd prefer people with, good vocal cords, but that's not a requirement per se. So, now that I'm done with the foolishness, and there was a super chat to start. A. Myers, $4.99. Just survived the Iowa hurricane. Stay safe, Chicago. 2020 sucks so hard, yo. Well, except Status Coup, of course. Well, I'm about to tell you, A. Myers, 2020 is about to get a lot worse, in my opinion. Thanks for getting us started in the super chat. Yesterday, we raised a hell of a lot of money. If you weren't there yesterday, you might not know. Got a little promo going. Become a Status Coup member today, and you get that free mask. You're not getting... Yeah, we did get 10 new members yesterday. So you're not getting that handsome man, but you will get a free Status Coup mask if you sign up as a monthly member today. statuscoup.com/join. Yesterday we had 10 new signups, which was awesome. If you sign up as an annual member, which is $179 annually, so you just pay up front, you'll get a Status Coup mask and shirt. Status Coup mask and shirt. So I'm waiting for my mask. I really like that mask. So, hey, if you've been on the fence, I know times are tough, but if you got, for the free mask, $5 a month, join us. Or for mask and shirt, you $179 annually. We need to grow. We're at 1,713. but we're digging ourselves out of a ditch. We were over 1,900, and because of COVID and people losing their jobs and everything like that, we've lost a lot of members. But, you know, the only way we're going to do this and accomplish what we want to accomplish, which is creating a media revolution, getting back out there in the field, covering the stories no one else covers, we got to grow. So if you got the funds, join us. And I always love announcing new members while I'm live. So let's get right to it. I told you about Trump, so I'll let you know if there's any updates with that. But I saw a story that I find very, very troubling. Very, very troubling. And it has to do with this whole restore the soul of America thing that Biden's got going. Oh, wait. Before I get into that, let me just tell you, I left out some key parts. When Trump came back from whatever, lockdown, he was away from that press conference for a few minutes, he announced that they are seriously considering a capital gains tax. You know what capital gains is? The minuscule taxes that Wall Street traders in the stock market have to pay. They don't actually pay income tax. They pay capital gains tax. So that's why we have everyday Americans like you and me paying more in taxes than the, you know, the Warren Buffetts of the world and other big hedge fund traders, financial executives. So Trump now is pretending that a capital gains tax cut is going to, quote, stimulate the economy. A capital gains tax cut will do nothing but give Wall Street executives more money for yachts. They will just they don't reinvest that money. It never creates jobs. It is a BS, Republican, Reagan-esque talking point that if you give tax cuts to the job creators, those on Wall Street, it'll trickle down to everybody. So Trump is talking about we're seriously considering a capital gains tax cut and a middle class tax cut. So a capital gains tax cut, another sexual favor to Wall Street, and on the other end, an income tax cut for middle class people, which is always funny to me because I recall George W. Bush saying that his 2 tax cuts for the rich was for the middle class. I recall Trump when he came in saying, we're doing a middle class tax cut. And guess what? That tax cut, 83% of it went to his donors and rich people. So essentially, Trump's big idea to stimulate the economy during a pandemic, here's free advice, President Trump. You know how you stimulate the pandemic? Shut down the virus. That's how you stimulate the economy. You're not going to stimulate the economy until the virus is dead. And you're not going to kill the virus until you lock down the country, which should have happened 5 months ago. There you go. Free advice. So now that we know Trump is, well, we already knew this, but now that we have a reminder that Trump is only serving Wall Street, capital gains tax cut he's proposing now, after a massive tax cut for corporations and rich people he already gave in 2017, a middle class tax cut, which is code for more tax cuts for that top 1% with some crumbs for you and I. Now, I want to make the point, hey, if you want to argue that morally Joe Biden is better than Donald Trump, all right, make the argument. That's fine. If you want to argue that Biden's better than Trump on the environment, I think he is. I don't think Biden is anywhere near what we need for the environment, but he's not, at least he's not repealing every regulation that Trump has done. Trump basically doesn't believe in environmental regulation. But I'm about to show you, I'm pretty sure on Wall Street and financial issues, the differences are pretty much nothing. The differences between Trump and Biden on Wall Street, this isn't a defense of Trump or an attack on Biden. I'm here to tell you, there's no difference financially. Because the same people that control this country, the United Corporations of America, will be controlling the country under Joe Biden. And this New York Times story shows you exactly why. Remember, hit that like button right there, thumbs up, and be so kind, leave a super chat. Sharing is caring. By the way, yesterday, we're doing a couple things at once. Yesterday, we got a couple donations in to the GoFundMe. So we're now less than $7,000 to go. Holy cow, Anat. Less than $7,000 to go, which would be amazing if we could hit our ultimate goal of $120,000. A lot of this money is being saved for the next time we go in the field. Obviously, we're picking and choosing where we're going to go and when we're going to go because of the virus. But we're also been spending money on advertising, which is helping. If you've noticed, we're almost at 88,000 subscribers. So we're finally growing a little bit more on YouTube, thankfully. So super chats or GoFundMe, whatever floats your boat. Jen's not here today. She's on a family vacation, so I'm dropping the links in there. So the New York Times reports the wallets of Wall Street are with Joe Biden, if not the hearts. Oh, what a title. Through donations, finance executives played a critical role in helping Biden turn his campaign around. They've mostly grown to like him, if not love him. Ooh, can't wait to hear this. As Wall Street donors arrived at a fundraiser for Joe Biden at a Midtown Manhattan restaurant in the earlier this year, campaign staff members asked if they wanted to go sign up for pictures with the candidate. More than a few of the bankers and private equity investors politely declined, preferring not to take pictures with somebody that would sniff their hair. No, oh, sorry, forgot that was an edit by me. More than a few of the bankers and private equity investors politely declined, opting to mingle over glasses of wine instead. It was February 13th, and Mr. Biden had just been thrashed in the New Hampshire primary after finishing poorly in the Iowa caucus. And finance executives have played a critical role in helping Biden bounce back. As Mr. Biden survived a turbulent winter to become the presumptive Democratic nominee, the millions of dollars of Wall Street denizens donated to Mr. Biden and outside groups supporting his candidacy have helped him build a strong lead in national polls. Wall Street has fared extraordinarily well under Mr. Trump. Deep cuts to their taxes, slashed regulations, and until the pandemic hit, record stock prices. But in recent months, dozens of bankers, traders, and investors said in interviews a sense of outrage and exhaustion over Mr. Trump's chaotic style of governance, accelerated by his poor coronavirus response, has markedly shifted the economic and political calculations in their industry. More and more finance professionals, they say, appear to be sidelining their concerns about Mr. Biden's age, 77, and his style. They are surprisingly unperturbed at the likelihood of his raising their taxes and stiffening oversight of their industry. In return, they welcome the more seasoned and methodical presidency they believe he could bring. They may not exactly be falling in love, but they are falling in line. Quote, I've seen meaningful numbers of people put aside what would appear to be their short-term economic interests because they value being citizens in a democracy, said Seth Klarman, founder of the hedge fund Baupost. A longtime independent, Mr. Klarman was at one point New England's biggest giver to the Republican Party. But in this cycle, he has given $3 million to groups supporting Mr. Biden. You gotta love it. You just gotta love these people thinking that, you know what? I believe in democracy. I believe in corruption moving back to the back rooms instead of out openly in front like we're seeing with Trump. I believe in crazy things being said behind the scenes, not on Twitter. I believe in racism just being subtle and by policy, like charging higher interest rates to black and brown families than white people, which a lot of those people donating to Joe Biden do exactly just that. Basically, they believe that they are, I guess patriotic for accepting a modest increase in their taxes so that the corruption will go back to the back room where it belongs. That's basically the psychology of these people. Can't make it up. But it gets better, folks. It gets better. And thank you for the super chat. Michael Williams, $10. Jordan, TYT was denied press credentials for the DNC convention. Do you think Cenk has learned his lesson about voting blue no matter what? Oh, Michael, I'm in a good mood. Why do you got to bring up Cenk? I'm not... Cenk and learning his lessons are two things I don't think go well together. I'll leave it at that. I'm kind of surprised, though, they were denied, considering they've been basically telling their viewers to vote for Biden, and I think we're pretty, I don't know, pretty much vote blue no matter who. I don't watch them anymore, but that's what I have been told, and the few things I've seen, they were pretty chummy at the debates. They didn't really challenge anyone in the press room when they were interviewing candidates, so I don't really know why they were denied. That's kind of odd to me, but I did see their fundraising off of it, so kudos to them. Thanks for the money, though. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. So here's where it gets super sketchy. And remember, press that like button. 320 people watching. 257 of you have pressed the like button. Please, 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 press that thumbs up button. Let's look at who else is giving money to Uncle Joe, Middle Class Joe. Or, as James Atwood, a managing director at the Carlyle Group and a former investment banker at Goldman Sachs, put it, for people who are in the business of hiring and firing CEOs, Donald Trump should have been fired a while ago. Mr. Atwood contributed $200,000 in June to the Biden Action Fund, a joint committee with the Democratic National Committee. In May and June alone, the Biden Action Fund raised more than $11.5 million. That tally, a good measuring stick for Wall Street support because it was set up in part to draw contributions from that industry, included $710,000 from Josh Bekenstein, a co-chair of Bain Capital, and his wife. Wait a minute. Anat, my lovely fiance. We're still accepting engagement super chats, by the way. We're now looking at... oh, should I not give any more details? Okay. You don't think the people want to know if they're invited to the wedding? Just kidding. Bain Capital. Why does that come to mind? Wasn't Bain Capital like... What? Didn't the Democratic Party go scorched earth on Bain Capital in 2012? Wasn't like a Republican presidential candidate / private equity vulture the founder of Bain Capital? Wait a minute. I remember. Bain Capital? Wasn't there, I don't know, a devastating campaign ad played that the Obama campaign ran against Mitt Romney?
One day, we were told to build a 30-foot stage. Gathered the guys, and we built that 30-foot stage, not knowing what it was for. Just days later, all three shifts were told to assemble in the warehouse. A group of people walked out on that stage and told us that the plant is now closed and all of you are fired. I looked both ways. I looked at the crowd, and we all just lost our jobs. We don't have an income. Mitt Romney made over $100 million by shutting down our plant and devastated our lives. Turns out that when we built that stage, it was like building my own coffin, and it just made me sick.
Priorities USA Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Whoa, that's Bain Capital. That's the Bain Capital that just gave Uncle Joe, Middle Class Joe, $710,000. And I want to be clear, Donald Trump's taking money from Wall Street too. I mean, they're both, there's no difference here. They're all taking money from the heads of the United Corporations of America, Wall Street. The Wall Street leaders that either make you build stages so they could then fire you on that stage, or crash the global economy, or I could go on and on and on. But Biden's better because of nice tweets, restoring the soul of America. My dad had told me, Joey, a job, it's more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. I'm sorry. I'm not going to just put my head in my hand, say vote blue no matter who, and pretend that we're getting some populist if Biden wins. I want Trump gone just like the next guy or gal. I think he's dangerous. But I also think it's, as a journalist, pretty irresponsible to just basically cover up who Biden is surrounding himself with, where Biden is getting his money, because who he surrounds himself with and where he's getting his money is exactly how he would govern. If he even governs, because there's a good chance, frankly, if you've been paying attention, his vice president will be doing a lot of the governing. But it gets worse, folks. It gets worse. Let me check, make sure I didn't miss anything. Keep those GoFundMes coming. We love you. Remember, new members today. For those of you that came late, if you sign up today as a new member, you're going to get a free Status Coup mask. If you sign up monthly, you get a free mask. If you sign up as an annual member for $179 annually, you will get a free mask and shirt. Holy cow, we just got a new member. Welcome, Ciara. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. Welcome, Ciara. We are now at 1,714 Status Coup members, getting us started in the growth today. Thank you, Ciara. And by the way, when you become a new member, go to statuscoup.com and click on member content so you can get access to all our behind the scenes videos just for members. So let me continue showing you exactly who Joe Biden is getting money from and exactly who is running Joe Biden's campaign. But Wall Street money has proved to be a double-edged sword for Democrats, as Hillary Clinton discovered when she was hounded 4 years ago for delivering private speeches to Goldman Sachs and other firms. Progressive voters and activists, many of whom backed Mr. Biden's more liberal rivals in the primary, are particularly leery of any appearance of coziness with the finance industry. Asked about Wall Street's role in Mr. Biden's current bid, the campaign invoked Mr. Biden's refrain that America wasn't built by Wall Street bankers, CEOs, and hedge fund managers. Quote, everything you need to know about this, Joe Biden has said himself throughout his career and repeatedly on the trail since the earliest days of this campaign. A spokesperson said, well, I know what Joe Biden has said to Wall Street donors. Nothing will fundamentally change if you elect me. Nothing will fundamentally change if you elect me. And more recently, at a virtual fundraiser, he said this: corporate America has to change its ways. It's not going to require legislation, because I'm not proposing any. We've got to think about how we deal people back in. Well then, I don't know which is better, Hillary Clinton telling Wall Street, cut it out, or Biden saying, you got to change your ways, but I'm not going to propose any legislation. You got to change your ways, but I'm not going to do anything to force you. I mean, this is a joke. Complete joke. But it gets worse, folks. I hope you're ready. As a senator from Delaware, Mr. Biden has for decades had relationships with credit card companies there, but less of a presence in the powerful financial center of New York. He has counted a small circle of financial executives as supporters. Mark Lassery, the co-founder of Avenue Capital, for example, held a fundraiser for Biden during his first run in 1988 and continues to back him now. The former hedge fund executive Eric Mindich and the short seller James Chanos have been supporters from well before the pandemic began. It doesn't hurt that Mr. Biden has also not crusaded against Wall Street the way his primary rivals, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, did. financial executives mostly seem to believe that while their taxes would rise in a Biden administration, they would not be subjected to the kind of, quote, fat cat rhetoric that soured some of their relationships with former President Barack Obama. Quote, rich people are just as patriotic as poor people, Biden told donors at a fundraiser at the Carlisle Hotel in Manhattan. If you don't know the Carlisle, pretty swanky. At a Brookings Institution gathering in 2018, he said, I don't think 500 billionaires are the reason why we're in trouble. You know what? On that, I agree with Joe Biden. I think it's more like 10 to 15 billionaires are why we're in major trouble. Ever seen this? That red line is your money stolen and given to those billionaires and millionaires. That blue line is us. That's since 1980. Couldn't find anything past 2015, but it's about the same. That is the great American bank robbery of the last 40 years. That Reagan, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, Art Laffer, W, Papa Bush, all of them, Obama has presided over. Now, let's see who exactly is Biden getting campaign advice from. Mr. Biden's more benign stance toward the finance industry has provoked skepticism among advocates for stricter regulation. Quote, when the candidate doesn't have a clear plan on something like Wall Street reform, it tilts the playing field towards what is probably the most powerful industry in the world, said Carter Dougherty, a spokesperson for Americans for Financial Reform, an advocacy group. Quote, we need more than not Trump appointees when it comes to financial regulation. While Wall Street financiers tend to be more socially liberal, they have collectively swung back and forth between parties. Data from the Center for Responsive Politics shows the securities and investment community donating more to President George W. Bush in 2004, and then to Mr. Obama in 2008, and then to Mitt Romney in 2012, followed by Hillary Clinton in 2016. This year, Mr. Biden's financial industry cash flowing and outside groups supporting him shows him dramatically outraising the president, with $44 million for Biden compared with Trump's $9 million. Last month, here is the kicker, folks. Get ready. Last month, multiple Wall Street bundlers, including Alan Leventhal, the chief executive of Beacon Capital, Nat Simmons, who runs a clean tech investment group, and Mr. Gray, Blackstone's president, you know Blackstone, that awful private investment firm that's basically has the most investment of any private equity firm in the world in fossil fuels, held virtual fundraisers for Mr. Biden. The giving has been so robust that the Biden campaign is now asking for at least $1 million in donations before it will confirm Biden's attendance at an event. As the checks rolls in, the Biden campaign has been carefully cultivating its relationship with the business community, with a focus on Wall Street. The outreach has included offering private briefings ahead of major policy rollouts and dangling various donor packages for the upcoming and mostly virtual Democratic National Convention. Oh, you gotta love private briefings for donors. In one call last month, two of Biden's top advisors on financial policy, Ben Harris and Jake Sullivan, led a wide-ranging conversation to preview the candidate's economic plan, which focuses on broad policy initiatives like investing in green infrastructure projects and minority-owned businesses. Two former Treasury Secretaries, Robert E. Rubin and Jacob J. Lew, were part of the call. Now, folks, for those of you born a little after the 90s, do you know who Robert Rubin is? There he is. You know who Robert Rubin is? Anybody? Take some guesses in the super chat. Gino Fast $49.99 in the super chat. Gino Trump just said Susan Rice is a liability because of Obama's Spygate against his campaign. What's your opinion on the recourse of Biden choosing Whitmer in this racially charged time in America? Does that woman from Michigan have a chance? Gino, hold that fire. I'm going to answer that in a little bit. Oh, did we get another member? Hold on. Whoa, new member, Zach. Holy cow, now we're rolling. We are now at 1,715 Status Coup members. Thank you to Sierra and Zach, two new members since we've been live. Keep signing up. By the way, for those signing up, we will reach out to you to coordinate getting you the masks or mask and shirt, depending on your sign up. Gino, hold that. I will answer your super chat in a little bit. I'm on a roll and I got to keep going. Hold on. Chris Garrett, $5. TYT didn't protect their DNC access by retiring Jordan for exposing Donna Brazil's corruption. Poorly played by TNT. Our gain was status quo. Oh, no comment, but kind of true. All right, Robert Rubin was Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary. Robert Rubin was a major, and I mean major, servant of Wall Street. Here's a little article. Wall Street deregulation pushed by Clinton advisors, documents reveal. Wall Street deregulation, blamed for deepening the bank crisis, the 2008 financial crash, was aggressively pushed by advisors to Bill Clinton, who have also been at the heart of current White House policymaking, according to newly disclosed documents from his presidential library. This was written when Obama was still president. The previously restricted papers reveal two separate attempts in 1995 and 1997 to hurry President Clinton into supporting a repeal of the Depression-era Glass-Steagall and allow investment banks, insurers, and retail banks to merge. A Financial Services Modernization Act was passed by Congress in 1999, aka the repeal of Glass-Steagall, which then led to the 2008 financial crash, giving retrospective clearance to the 1998 merger of Citigroup and Travelers Group and unleashing a wave of Wall Street consolidation that was later blamed for forcing taxpayers to spend billions, bailing out the enlarged banks after the subprime mortgage crash. The White House papers show only limited discussions of the risk of such deregulation, but include a private note which reveals that details of a deal with Citigroup to clear its merger in advance of the legislation were deleted from official documents. Quote, "Please eat this paper after you have read it," jokes the handwritten 1998 note addressed to Gene Sperling, then director of Clinton's National Economic Council. Earlier in 1995, newly appointed Treasury Secretary Robert Rubin, his deputy Bo Cutter, and senior advisors, including John Podesta, we know John Podesta, gave the president 3 days to decide whether to back a repeal of Glass-Steagall. In what Cutter described as an action-forcing event, he wrote to Clinton on February 21st telling him that Rubin wanted to announce the policy before it was raised by the House Banking Committee on March 1st. Quote, "In order to position Secretary Rubin, rather than any of the regulators, as the administration's chief spokesperson on this issue, the Secretary intends to discuss the administration's position at a speech which will be covered by the press on February 27th. Bill Clinton's advisors repeatedly reassured him that the decision to let Wall Street dismantle regulatory barriers designed to protect the public after the Great Depression simply represented inevitable modernization. But the new documents cast fresh light on the way that the White House was first ushered towards deregulation by the tight group of Robert Rubin allies. Let me just break it down for those folks in the back. Just translate this. Robert Rubin was a Wall Street vulture. He went on to work at Citigroup and run Citigroup, who convinced Bill Clinton, who was taking a hell of a lot of money from Wall Street in the 90s. That's why Hillary Clinton then got a lot of money from Wall Street when she ran for senator. Robert Rubin was the leading cheerleader, along with Lawrence Summers, in the Clinton White House to deregulate the entire financial industry. to get rid of the protections that were there since the Great Depression under Franklin Delano Roosevelt that separated commercial banks and investment banks. What could go wrong, they say? It's just modernization. Well, that modernization led to an unprecedented housing crisis, which actually now with the coronavirus might be beaten with the upcoming housing crisis that very few are talking about. And basically, Robert Rubin said, let Wall Street have cake. Let Wall Street have cake. And that is who? Joe Biden's campaign literally has joining them on, quote, policy briefings. Gotta love that campaigns are literally giving policy briefings to top donors. Talk about working for corporate masters. Robert Rubin, who helped Bill Clinton and the Democrats of the 90s set the conditions that led to a global financial crash, is basically on the policy calls with Joe Biden's campaign to brief Wall Street vultures. This is who they were on calls with. Major Wall Street executives and investors, including Blair Efron, co-founder of the financial advisory firm Centerview Partners, Penny Pritzker, a fundraiser and former Commerce Secretary, David Cohen, a top Biden bundler and Comcast executive. Oh, Comcast, just the parent company of MSNBC. No massive conflict of interest there. And Eric Schmidt, the former chief executive of Google. So I don't know what is more corrupt and bad. And just to be clear, I just want to be clear, Trump does the same things. The Republicans do the same things. So we're not making, I'm not here to be like, oh, the Democrats are doing something the Republicans don't. It's all the same. That's the whole point of this. We're being told, vote blue no matter who. We're being told that Biden will end Trump's corruption. But this is corruption right in front of your face. It's just the accepted corruption. The corruption that the corporate media accepts because they're in on it. The corruption that the think tanks accept because they're in on it. The corruption that the lobbyists accept because they're part of it. The corruption that the banks love because they're part of it. I mean, it's unbelievable. Joe Biden's campaign is literally holding presentations to donors with Robert Rubin, one of the most neoliberal servants of Wall Street you could imagine, and at the same time saying, I'm a middle-class guy. I'm Union Man Joe. I'm going to take it to Wall Street. I'm going to undo Trump's tax cuts. We gotta help working families. Want a little bit more on Mr. Rubin? After his time in Bill Clinton's administration, helping to destroy the global financial economy, Robert Rubin resigned from Citigroup following months of criticism of his performance at the U.S. bank. So he went from Clinton's administration and helping to basically open up the floodgates so Wall Street could run wild in the 2000s. Then he went to run Citigroup, and his departure came as Citigroup was in advanced talks to combine its Smith Barney retail brokerage with that of Morgan Stanley, and perhaps eventually sell Smith Barney to Morgan Stanley. A combined brokerage would be the nation's largest by number of advisors. Rubin admitted to not having foreseen the credit crisis and market deterioration, which caused roughly 88% of Citigroup's share price to evaporate over the last 2 years. The bank has taken $45 billion from the government's Troubled Asset Relief Program, and in November won a federal bailout that will limit losses on $306 billion of toxic assets. Rubin himself declined a bonus for his second straight year. Oh, how patriotic to decline your bonus. So let's get this straight. Robert Rubin, who helped crash the global economy by convincing Bill Clinton to basically give, sexual favors to Wall Street in the 1990s, and basically unravel all the rules that protected consumers for decades since the New Deal, Robert Rubin then convinced Clinton to repeal Glass-Steagall, which, by the way, Joe Biden, as a senator, supported, by saying, no, this is just financial modernization. It's not going to let Wall Street run wild. It's going to, consumers will still be protected. And then when he went to Citigroup and the house of cards fell, because this is exactly why there was a credit crisis and market deterioration, because of the repeal of Glass-Steagall, he admitted to not having foreseen the credit crisis and market deterioration. Wow. You tell me, okay? Call me old-fashioned. I believe actions speak louder than words. I also believe who you surround yourself with says a lot about who you are. So we know that Lawrence Summers, another one of former Treasury secretaries, helped push NAFTA, helped push deregulation. We know that he has served as a Biden campaign advisor. And now we know that Robert Rubin, another former Treasury secretary, king of the neoliberal class reunion, is sitting on presentations. He's part of the presentation the Biden campaign is giving to Wall Street donors. You tell me if your fortunes are going to change with Uncle Joe as president. And again, this isn't me telling you not to vote for Biden. It's not telling you to vote for Biden. I don't really care. My job as a journalist, I don't view it as to tell you how to vote. I respect people who feel they have to hold their nose and vote for Biden because they think Trump is that much of a threat. I totally get that. I respect people who say, to hell with it. I can't do this anymore, lesser of two evils. I hate Trump, but I can't bring myself to vote for Biden. I get both sides of it, and I'm not criticizing anyone. But I think it's important to be honest with viewers and to say, this is corrupt. Either Biden is a moron and he can't recognize failed politicians whose ideas have done massive damage to the working people of America, including disproportionately black and brown people. If you look at the financial crash of 2008, if you look at the foreclosures that happened, black people got it worse than anybody. So either Biden and his team around him are complete morons, aren't good judge of characters, or they know exactly who they're surrounding themselves with, and they're doing it intentionally. Because their mindset is, let's get Trump out of there and return to the good old days. We'll give a couple incremental reforms for the worker bees, and we'll have lavish cake and champagne for our Wall Street donors and bosses in the United Corporations of America. It's not good. It's not good, folks. And frankly, I am not here. I don't think Bernie Sanders is at all times responsible for taking it to the corporatists. I think he's done a lot for this movement. I don't think there would be an organized progressive movement as such right now without Bernie doing what he's done for the last 5 years. I don't think you'd see this onslaught of progressive candidates starting to win if Bernie Sanders hadn't opened that road for them, inspired a lot of them to run, set the bar for what is possible. But I also think, Bernie, you could do two things at once. You could say, people don't have to agree with him, but you could say, listen, Joe Biden's not my first choice, but I'm going to support him because of Trump, while at the same time condemning this. Why can't Bernie and progressives, why aren't they screaming from the rooftop, Joe Biden needs to reconsider who he's surrounding himself with? Joe Biden needs to, kind of look outside the window, see how the times have changed since the 1990s. The people are fed up with these Wall Street pigs running our government, and not surround yourself and have campaign calls briefing Wall Street donors with Robert Rubin being advised by Lawrence Summers. Where is Bernie on these things? Where is AOC on these things? Where is progressives demanding to Joe Biden, we need more from you. We demand more from you. We're not going to just, close our eyes, cover our nose, and go vote for you if this is who you're surrounding yourself. Because if this is who he's surrounding himself with, and this is who he's casting his lot with, these are the people that are going to be running our government, folks. It ain't going to be Biden. It's going to be Lawrence Summers, Robert Rubin, possibly Jamie Dimon, who has been floated as a possible Treasury Secretary. It ain't going to be AOC, Pramila Jayapal, Rashida Tlaib, Ro Khanna, Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman. Cheryl, go buy a beer, Jordan, and plant a tree for you and Anat. That will mean more tomorrow than your today. What? I'll go plant a tree. Anat loves plants, by the way. She does love plants. I don't really get the point, but that's neither here or there. So, that's all I got on this, but I find it troubling. I don't know where the progressive movement is. To me, it's major red blinking lights that Robert Rubin is advising Joe Biden's campaign, that Robert Rubin, the guy who helped repeal Glass-Steagall, that pushed to repeal Glass-Steagall, which led to the financial crash of 2008, which most people now suffering during coronavirus still never fully recovered from that. You're talking over a decade after that mess that most working people never fully recovered from. They had these rosy pictures that, before coronavirus, the unemployment rate is at a 50-year low, and, the stock market is roaring, and we're fully recovered from the global financial crash. Yeah, maybe the 1% was. Not everybody else was. Progressives need to start speaking up, because you're not doing Joe Biden any favors by not calling him out on these things. The voters will know. Young people will know. Young black voters will know. Young brown voters will know. Latinos will know. And if Biden isn't challenged on who he's surrounding himself with, who's advising him, it's only going to go to suppressing votes, just like for Hillary Clinton. People are not going to be inspired to go out for this man. Trump will win, and guess what? We'll do this all over again. They're already starting with the Russiagate bullshit, saying, setting the conditions that Russia stole the election. You're seeing Pelosi setting the alarm on Russia, Schumer. They're already putting out there a built-in rationalization and excuse why, if Biden loses, it wasn't because these ideas are dead. People will not accept this incremental crumbs anymore. And yes, they will blame progressives. And yes, Lawrence Summers, Robert Rubin, it wasn't just repealing Glass-Steagall that these folks pushed mercilessly. They were also instrumental in NAFTA, which, for a lot of you watching, sold your jobs to China, Mexico, and elsewhere. So, let's get to some super chats. Keep them coming. Gino, $49.99. Trump just said Susan Rice is a liability because of Obama Spygate against his campaign. What's your opinion on the recourse of Biden choosing Whitmer in this racially charged time in America? Does that woman from Michigan have a chance? Well, I just did a whole segment yesterday on that woman from Michigan who, if you watched it, you'll know she ain't good either. I'm not really the best with predictions. I don't think it's going to be Gretchen Whitmer. I think that Biden, before this moment with George Floyd's murder, Breonna Taylor, the explosion in Black Lives Matter protests, I think it would have been Amy Klobuchar. I think that was a done deal. Or Gretchen Whitmer. I think it would have been one of them. But I don't think Biden is stupid enough. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't think the people running his campaign, but more importantly, Obama, who I think has a much, much bigger role than people think in making the decisions for Joe Biden's campaign. I don't think they will mess it up by picking a white woman. I think they're going to pick a black woman because the bottom line is the polls are good for Biden right now, but if you pick a white woman in this current political climate, there's going to be hell to pay, and it will depress turnout among black people. It just will, because for black people right now, that would be viewed as a major slap in the face. It would be viewed as majorly taking the black vote for granted. So I don't think it's going to be Gretchen Whitmer. My guess, I got two who I think it might be. I actually don't think it's going to be Kamala Harris, because I think Biden and the people around him, which are mostly older white men, are, misogynist douchebags. And if a man went at him during a debate, like Kamala Harris did, they'd let it go. But because it was a woman, I think they feel a certain way about it. I don't think it's going to be Kamala Harris. I also don't think she really adds much to the ticket. She can't help him win a state. She floundered during the presidential campaign. She doesn't add anything, and as soon as she becomes vice president, she'd be looking for how she could stab him in the front back to take his seat. So I don't think it's going to be Kamala Harris. My guess is it's either going to be Val Demings, who is a congresswoman. She is a Florida congresswoman. Florida is key. She also was once a police chief, but I think Biden is stupid enough to pick somebody who was once a police chief, because I think he will look at, she's black, from Florida, a congresswoman, establishment, and she won't have eyes right away for president. So I think Val Demings is a real possibility. I also think, my guess is, it's either going to be Val Demings or, why am I drawing a blank who I was thinking? Susan Rice. Susan Rice. Because I think Susan Rice, there's the Benghazi thing and all that, but the Benghazi thing, which was, if you know, was a whole bunch of bullshit that Fox News and Republicans went crazy about. Susan Rice went on a cable Meet the Press and said the Benghazi attacks was because of a YouTube video, but it wasn't, whatever. Really, that's not a major risk for Biden to pick her, because the people that would be hysterical about Susan Rice becoming vice president are already 100% not voting for Joe Biden. They're Fox News viewers, they're hardcore Trumpites, and they're not swayable. They're not going to vote for Joe Biden anyway. They are Fox News, Kool-Aid drinking MAGA people. I think it would be Susan Rice because, A, Biden and her had a very good relationship while he was vice president and she was national security advisor. Obama loves her. She's black. She's never run for office before, so there's really no real threat that, she'll be in there and be disloyal to you because she wants to maneuver to become president. I think Biden is looking for someone that will be loyal to him that isn't immediately going to be maneuvering to become president. So I think it's probably going to be Susan Rice or Congresswoman Demings because she's from Florida, she's black, she's moderate. I don't think it's going to be Kamala Harris. I don't think it's going to be Karen Bass because she's mildly progressive. And if you're looking at who Joe Biden is surrounding himself with, he ain't picking a progressive. They don't give a flying fuck about progressives. In fact, I think they are giddy about insulting progressives. So I think it's going to be Val Demings. I also think Biden could spin the choice of Val Demings as, well, we need major police reform in this country. Congresswoman Demings understands police, understands how to make reforms in the police department because she did it as a police chief down in Florida. That would be really stupid of him because I don't think it's really going to make Black Lives Matter folks, white allies, black people in general, too thrilled that you're hiring a former police chief as vice president. So those are my guesses. I think it's going to be Val Demings or Susan Rice. I don't think Tammy Duckworth, for the reasons I said. Yes, she's a minority, but I think they're going to pick a black woman. I really do think that. And I also think that you have to look at it more so than just the vice presidential pick, but how it could backfire on Biden if he doesn't go with a black woman. And here's why. If he doesn't go with a black woman, not only are you going to have mass blowback from the black community, yeah, there will be older people that say, all right, I'm disappointed, but we got to get rid of Trump. But there's going to be a lot of other people, particularly under the age of 50, but also, older establishment black voters that are going to think twice about Biden. But you're also then going to give Trump an opening to hammer you on your record on race issues. From the crime bill, which Bernie didn't go at him at all, which I think was a mistake. Your civil rights record, lying that you were on the front lines, participating in civil rights sit-ins, lying that you got arrested, waiting to speak with Nelson Mandela in apartheid South Africa, palling around with segregationist Senator Strom Thurmond in the 1970s, pushing bills with him to stop busing. I mean, the list goes on. And frankly, Trump's going to do what Bernie should have done, but chose not to do. And I think Biden and Biden's campaign gives Trump that opening even more if he chooses not to pick a black woman. So I don't think it's going to be Whitmer. I don't think it's going to be Tammy Duckworth. I think it's going to be a black woman. I don't think it's going to be Karen Bass because she's mildly progressive and he don't want any progressives. I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be Harris for the reasons I told you. I don't think she adds anything. He probably wants someone that will be subservient to him and loyal, and I don't think he thinks she would be that. Who are the other options? Let me go through the list. Biden VP options. Oh, you gotta love Chris Cillizza's rankings here. Let me go through. Karen Bass, no. Tammy Duckworth, no, which I just told you. Gretchen Whitmer, no. Susan Rice, 2. Kamala Harris. So I've named everybody who I think's in the top 5. Then there is, by the way, there is 100% a wild card in this. There is 100% a wild card here. And again, I don't really like political prognosticating, but I do think there's a wild card. If she would say yes, and I think they've tried, from what I was told, I think he would pick Michelle Obama in a New York minute. If Michelle Obama would agree, I think Joe Biden would choose Michelle Obama as his vice president, which would excite a whole lot of people, would stir up the black base to come out. I think a lot of young black people would come out for Michelle Obama too. I'm not a fan. Nothing personal. She's just an extension of her husband, who's a neoliberal failure in my view. But I think if Michelle Obama would do it, and I have no insight into that, I think 100% Biden would do it. It would completely excite the base. I think Trump would have a hard time going at her. She obviously, whatever I think about her politics, is a very gifted speaker, very charismatic. So, calling it here. It would not surprise me if she was under consideration. And if they were considering her, and if they were talking to her, that would be a CIA-level classified thing that probably would not leak until the announcement. I don't think it's going to be her. So I think you put a political gun to my head, I think it's going to be Florida Congresswoman Val Demings. So save this video in case I'm right. So thank you, Gino, for the super chat. Hope that answered well what you wanted to know. Let me see who else I missed. Brian Frederick, $1.99. The House is out of session until September 14th. That's correct, Brian, but don't you worry, because the House isn't really running the country anyway. The United Corporations of America run the country. So yes, what we're told, what Trump said at his press conference today, he turned to Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, who said next week, or in the next week or two, the states will be able to execute Trump's executive order, which, as Steve Grumbine and I talked about yesterday, is a one giant hot mess. So they're saying in a week or two, the people who have lost that 600 hours a week, who are facing eviction, will start to get their money from Trump's eviction order. Even though we have no idea how his eviction order actually works, even though governors have said we're alarmed, we don't know how it's going to work. Even though Larry Kudlow went on CNN yesterday and talked 7 ways out of his mouth. At first he said it's going to be $400 a week. Then he said it's going to be $800 a week. It was very confusing. So basically, for the people who are desperate right now, Trump signed an executive order. Nobody really understands what it means. We don't even know if it's legal. And people are now going on their second week without the $600 extra a week coming in. So now they only have their state unemployment, which is pretty minuscule in most states. Anywhere from $200 a week to $400 a week, most states give you. Chris Wynn, $2. Secret Service just shot someone. Don is in bunker. Yes, I started the live stream with that. Swirly Swirl, $5. Have you seen the people marching from Milwaukee to D.C.? They are currently in Indiana, have faced a bunch of hate. I have not seen them, but I'm emailing with somebody from them to set up an interview. So thanks for the super chat. I am aware of the march on the DNC and all that. Brian Frederick, $1.99. Kamala just unfollowed Biden on Twitter. Really? Interesting. Are you trolling me right now, or that really happened? That would be something if Kamala unfollowed Biden. Gino, $4.99. I guess it all depends on how they spin it and how the American public eats it. Well, right now the American public we're getting to a point where more and more people are not going to have anything to eat, Gino. So I don't think most Americans give a damn at this point who he picks for vice president. They want money. They want protection against being evicted. They want a competent leader to help curb this virus. And now, by the way, it's absolutely, I called this a capitalist death cult months ago when they didn't lock down the country and they were just reopening states while the virus was running wild. Now you have at least 97,000 children have been infected recently. Remember, children don't get coronavirus? Yeah, they do. 97,000 children recently infected, yet school districts all over the country are reopening schools. This is literally suicide. And don't tell me, yeah, children might get it, but it's not as powerful on children. They won't get as sick. We don't know if they could transfer it to adults. Yeah? How do you know? This is the wild, wild west. Nobody knows everything about the coronavirus. Not even Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx. You got a different study every other day that says something different. And children have died. A 7-year-old just died. I forget the state. And by the way, for the brainiacs reopening their school districts, you remember that viral video of that Georgia school that reopened? That a student put out images of packs of students in a narrow hallway without masks? And that student got suspended for being a whistleblower, for doing the right thing and getting this visual out there? Oh, well, after they reopened, 9 students tested positive. Shocker. Shocking, I tell you. Who knows how many more now? I mean, this is from, what day was this out? This is from today. So 9 tested positive. We'll see how many more come up in the next few days from that one school. So now they're shifting to online learning. Who would have thought? Congregating packs of young people in small hallways, small classrooms, a lot of stubborn people not wearing masks. They're young. We think we're invincible. Wow, I feel old even saying that. I sound like a grandpa. So this is going to get even worse, folks, because we have literally morons and members of a capitalism death cult running our states and cities. What should be done, and a lot of civil libertarians get at me for this and don't like it, but I don't really give a damn. The President Trump should have, and still should, shut down the country. Not each state having its own rules and regulations. Not each state determining whether they're going to have stay-at-home orders or not. One national stay-at-home order for 3 to 4 weeks. I know it sucks. I know it's summer. Tough. If you want this, if you want the cases to go down, you have to separate transmission. And the only way to do that is for people to be home and not around each other for a considerable amount of time. That would also help shrink the overload that hospitals are facing. If we do this before the temperature cools in the fall and the winter, when they expect the virus to get it even worse, they think it thrives in cold air, this is how you do it. So if you want to fucking cry and say, don't tread on me, well, yeah, we are going to tread on you. Because I don't want to die. I don't want my fiance to die. I don't want my nephew and loved ones to die. I don't want my viewers to die so that redneck people who want to hold bazooka guns can scream, don't tread on me. Stay home, watch Jerry Springer, eat your diabetic inducing foods. Government, cancel the rent during this time. Cancel the mortgage during this time. Utilities, car payments, car insurance, all of it frozen, canceled. Only thing would be bare essentials. Hospital workers, delivery workers to deliver food. That's it. It's not that complicated. Unless you want to keep doing this over and over and over and over again. Into next year and God knows how long. Artificial Morphison, $5. Jordan, have you been on Tim Black's show or invited him on yours? You guys are who I watch the most. No, I haven't. I don't want to get into it, but I'm not a fan. But you watch whoever you watch. So no, not a fan. Not going on his show. Don't want to have him on my show. But God bless you. Watch whoever you want. Thank you for the super chat. Let them eat ice cream. All right, folks. All I got. If anything else comes out about why they removed Trump from the press conference, who the shooter was, who they were shooting at, I will possibly come back later. But as of now, I haven't seen anything new on that. I will be back tomorrow, earlier, my normal time, 4:30 Eastern time. A reminder for the 350 people still watching. If you sign up as a Status Coup member this week, as a monthly Status Coup member, you will get a free mask. You could sign up as low as $5 a month. That's a bad Starbucks cup of coffee for 5 months. Excuse me, $5 a month. If you sign up as an annual member at $179, you will get a free Status Coup mask and shirt. Thank you for those new members. We got 10 yesterday. I see 2 while I've been live. And folks, oh wait, I missed another one. Welcome, Matt. Holy cow. We are now at 1,716. 1,716 members. So keep those new members coming, baby. We love you. 1,716. And don't worry, new members. We will contact you to get your free masks and shirts. Again, if you don't know about membership, here's the levels. You can become a status slayer for $5 a month, a Coup de Champion for $10 a month, a Coup de Commander for $20 a month, or become part of the Coup de Cavalry for $179 a year. We know times are tough. We know people have lost their jobs, had their hours cut. Totally get it if you can't support us financially. If you can, this is the only way we could grow. This is the only way we could stay independent and not sell out like many outlets who claim to be progressive have. So please, we're not asking you to sign up so we could go to the casino. This is the money for us to get out in the field and continually report. So thank you so much to our new members, and keep signing up. And when you sign up as a new member, go to statuscoup.com, click on member content, and you'll have access to all of the behind the scenes videos we do just for members. Thank you for watching. Am I forgetting anything? Oh yeah. As always, if you have a story idea, you have a hot tip, story idea, send it to info@statuscoup.com. info@statuscoup.com. I try to read as many of them as I can. I try to respond to as many as I can. And that's it. Happy pooping, Jordan. I have enjoyed. I've gotten a few emails from viewers with constipation recommendations. I appreciate it. I'm not going to give you daily reports on my bowel movements, but I am reading them and making changes. So, thank you for watching. Peace out.